Part 5. How to Kick Some Ass. Chapter 23. The Almighty Decision. Until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. The moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. W. H. Murray, explorer, mountain climber, committer. The story goes that when Henry Ford first came up with the idea for his V8 motor, he wanted the engine to have all 8 cylinders casted one block. I have no idea what that means, but apparently it was a tall order because his team of engineers was like, "Bitch, you crazy!" He told them to do it anyway, and off they grumbled to toil away at it, only to come back and inform him that it was impossible. Upon hearing this news, Ford told them to keep at it, no matter how long it took. He was all, "I don't want to see your faces until you bring me what I want." And they were all, "We just proved it can't be done." And he was all, "It can't be done, and it will be done." And they were all, "Cannot." And he was all, "Can so." And they were all, "No way." And he was all, "Way." So off they went again, and this time for a whole year, and nothing. So they go back to Ford, and there's lots of tears and finger pointing and hair pulling, and Ford sends them off again and tells them it will be done again. And then, in the lab, somewhere between folding origami swans out of their notes and making fart noises every time someone mentions the word Ford, his engineers do the impossible. They discover how to make his 8-cylinder engine block. This is what it means to make a decision for reals. When you make a no-nonsense decision, you sign up fully and keep moving towards your goal regardless of what's flung in your path. And stuff will most definitely get flung, which is why making the decision is so crucial. This shit is not for sissies. The moment it gets hard or expensive or puts you at risk of looking like a moron, if you haven't made the decision, you will quit. If it wasn't uncomfortable, everyone would be out there all in love with their fabulous lives. So often we pretend we've made a decision when what we've really done is signed up to try until it gets too uncomfortable. Henry Ford didn't even make it past the 6th grade, and there he was, bossing around a bunch of the world's biggest engineering smarty-pantses, setting himself up to look like a total idiot by spending large amounts of money and time on the proven impossible. Ford was determined, and he trusted his gut and his vision more than the small thinking of others. He'd made the decision that he would have his engine the way he would have it, and nothing was going to stop him. This is why the decision is so important. If you had an idea and had to go up against a room full of people who quote-unquote knew better than you did and demand they do what you say in spite of all the proof they had against you, would you stick to your guns? Or if you needed tens of thousands of dollars to start your new business, and the only person you could think of to ask was your scary, rich uncle who never remembered who you were even though you saw him every Christmas, would you ask him for it? Or if you were sick of feeling fat and unsexy and out of shape, and the only time you could make it to the gym was at 5 a.m. on freezing winter mornings when you were all snugly in bed, would you go? If you made the decision that you were going to reach your goals, you would do whatever it took. If you merely wanted to, but hadn't made the firm decision to, you'd roll over and begin convincing yourself that your life is fine just the way it is. This is where being connected to your desire and source energy and having an unshakable belief in the not yet seen is so critical. There are plenty of times when we get a brilliant idea and it temporarily fails, or it pushes us into unfamiliar territory. If we don't have a strong connection to the truth, we live in an abundant universe, we are awesome, glorious, tear-jerkingly lovable, etc., a blazing desire, and an unflinching belief in our own vision before it's manifested, we'll fall prey to our own fears and everyone else's fears that it's not possible and give up, instead of course-correcting or pushing on through and bringing it to life. As Winston Churchill so aptly explained, success consists of going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. Nobody gets to the top of the mountain without falling on his face over and over again. By the way, back when Henry Ford insisted to a room full of annoyed engineers that his V8 engine could be built the way he envisioned it, it was after he'd already gone bankrupt in his first attempt at creating an automobile empire. So at that time, he already had plenty of proof that he was capable of failing on a massive scale. But his faith in himself and his vision was so strong that he stuck with it in spite of all the evidence around him that pointed to big fat loser, and became one of the most successful entrepreneurs of all time. Temporary failure is all the rage. All the cool kids have done it. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team for lack of skill. Steven Spielberg, a high school dropout, was rejected from film school 3 times. Thomas Edison, who was dubbed too stupid to learn anything by a teacher, tried more than 9,000 experiments before successfully creating the light bulb. Soichiro Honda, the founder of Honda Motor Company, was turned down by Toyota for an engineering position, so he started his own damn company. Beethoven's music teacher told him he was talentless, and more specifically, was hopeless at composing. Beethoven turned a deaf ear. I know, so bad, sorry. Fred Smith wrote a paper while at Yale about his big idea for an overnight delivery service. He got a C. He went on to create FedEx anyway. The only failure is quitting. Everything else is just gathering information. There's no big mystery to this stuff. If you want something badly enough and decide that you will get it, you will. You've done it before. You've lost the weight, gotten the job, bought the house, quit the nasty habit, gotten in shape, asked someone out, splurged on the front row tickets, grown out your bangs. You just need to remember that you can do it with anything in your life, even the things that you presently think are out of your reach. There are plenty of people out there in the world living the kind of life you only dream about living, many of whom are far less fabulous and talented than you are. The key to their success is that they decided to go for it. They stopped listening to their tired old excuses, changed their lousy habits, and got the fuck on the fuck. Here's how you can too. 1. Want it bad. You need to have a 10-ton gorilla of desire behind your decision, or else you'll wimp out the second things get hard. It's like people who get hypnotized to quit smoking when they really don't want to quit, or who try to lose weight when they're more excited by pizza than being able to look down and see their feet. It never works. A few months ago, I dragged my ass to yoga class for a solid week, even though I just so did not feel like doing it. I paid my money, sat down on my mat, and was surprised to find my hand raised in the air when the instructor asked if anyone had any injuries she should know about. I then heard myself explaining that I'd just gotten the cast off my broken elbow and should really take it easy. I am an adult. I am very busy. I spent money on that class and then lied so I didn't have to participate. I did have a cast, but it had come off about 8 months earlier. I spent the majority of yoga week quietly napping on my mat and conjuring up my best wincing in pain face in case she was looking at me while I was half-assing down dog. It was ridiculous. If you're going to push through major obstacles to reach your goal, you can't just want to. You need to be in a full-on tizzy of excitement about what it is you're going after and hold on to it like a pit bull. In order to do this, you need to have the audacity to be honest about what you really want to do, not what you should do. Believe it's available to you, regardless of any evidence otherwise, and go for it. 2. Get good at it. To decide literally means to cut off. No wonder so many people are totally freaked out by it. The terror around making the wrong decision can be so overwhelming to some people that they develop the habit of A, waffling back and forth, paralyzed by self-doubt and terror, finally eking out a quote-unquote decision that they then proceed to change over and over again. B, making decisions hastily, without thinking or feeling into them, their main goal being to escape the discomfort and get the damn thing over with already. Or C, being so afraid that if they pick one thing, they'll miss out on another, so they either choose to do nothing or try to do everything, which are both excellent ways to miss out on all of it. They basically decide to never decide because they don't want to make the wrong decision. Good times! Deciding is freedom. Indecision is torture. Indecision is one of the most popular tricks for staying stuck within the boundaries of what's safe and familiar, which is why a common trait of successful people is that they make decisions quickly and change them slowly. And by quickly, I don't mean that you must know exactly what to do the moment a decision presents itself, although there are those people who do, but rather that you immediately face the damn thing and start working through your decision-making process, whatever that may look like, sleeping on it, making a list of the pros and cons, feeling into it, etc. If you're a waffler or prefer to avoid the process altogether, a great thing to do is practice on the little things to build up your decision-making muscle. When eating at a restaurant, make yourself pick something off the menu in under 30 seconds. Once you choose, you aren't authorized to change your mind or your order. Give yourself 20 minutes to go online and research the best garlic press and then make the purchase. Pick things off the shelves at the supermarket in under 10 seconds. Knock yourself out of the habit of being a deer stuck in the headlights by demanding you wake up and choose something. If you're someone who needs to sleep on it or mull it around a bit, give yourself a deadline. Don't leave it open to decide when you'll decide and risk waking up 40 years later, finally sure of what to do, long after the opportunity has passed you by. Pay attention to how much time you need to decide, overnight, a week, a month, and demand of yourself that you figure it out by then. If you're wired for making instant decisions, practice tuning into your intuition and fully trusting what it says, regardless of what your brain may be screaming about. Get quiet, listen for and feel into the answer, and practice acting on your first solid impulse. And whoever you are, please stop saying how pathetic you are at making decisions. Erase the phrase, "I don't know," from your vocabulary and replace it with, "I'll know what to do soon enough." Decide to become the person who makes quick, smart decisions, and you will. 3. Eliminate the negotiation process. When I decided to quit smoking, if I even toyed with thoughts like, well, what harm will one itty-bitty drag do? I was screwed. Our decisions must be watertight, because excuses will seep through any little cracks in our resolve, and before we know it, we'll be on our asses. Decisions are not up for negotiation. The old you, the one who has not yet decided to kick ass, is in the past. Stay present and do not, even for 1 second, look backwards or entertain any ideas of straying from your decision. Think only of the new you. The whole point of deciding is to stop wasting time and to move forward, not to spend time figuring out how you can wiggle out of your decision. It helped me to think of it this way. I'm not going to go home and negotiate about whether or not I'm going to smoke a cigarette, just as I'm not going to go home and negotiate about whether or not to snort some horse tranquilizers. I don't negotiate about snorting horse tranquilizers because I'm not a horse tranquilizer snorter. Now that I don't smoke, I'm not going to negotiate about smoking because I don't smoke. 4. Stick like glue. I used to write for an entrepreneurial magazine where I got to interview all these hugely successful business owners. Whenever I asked them what the secret to their success was, the overwhelming majority answered, tenacity. Be the last person standing. Wear down your obstacles and excuses and fears and doubts until they're finally like, you? Again? Jesus H. Christ, fine, here you go. Now get out of my face. Birthing your dreams is like giving birth. Conceiving the idea is the fun part, hopefully. Then you go through insane amounts of fear and excitement and dreaming and planning and vomiting and growing and thinking you're crazy and thinking you're awesome and stretching and shape-shifting until you're practically unrecognizable to everyone, even your own self. Along the way, you clean up your puke and massage your aching back and apologize to all the people whose heads you ripped off in a hormonal killing spree, but you stay the course because you know this baby of yours is going to be the bomb. Then, finally, just when you can see a light at the end of the tunnel, labor starts. Your innards twist and strangle and force you to stumble around hunched over in the shape of the letter C, while you breathe and pray and curse, and just when you think it can't get any more out of your mind painful, a giant baby head squeezes out of a tiny hole in your body. Then, a full-blown miracle appears. In order to change your life and start living a new one that you've never lived before, your faith in miracles and yourself must be greater than your fear. However easy or rough your birth process is, you have to be willing to fall down, get up, look stupid, cry, laugh, make a mess, clean it up, and not stop until you get there, no matter what. 5. Love yourself. You can do anything.